I know they've got a few injuries at the moment, the likes of Madueke, Odegaard, of course, being out too. But do you feel like the squad is equipped now to be able to continue on this run?
Very much so now. And this is why I think that a lot of Arsenal fans are very optimistic about the chances this season, especially with the way that games have been won. In games that I mentioned that, we probably didn't pick up points in and lost points when we shouldn't have. So there's a lot more confidence about Odegaard being missing, even Saka being taken off in certain games, because there's people who are coming in who can adequately fit in.
You can put your feet up and watch Liverpool tomorrow without having to worry.
I'm going to do that, I hope that they don't pick up any points.
But it's all right, because...
Well, another London derby at the Emirates Stadium this weekend. Arsenal, top of the table. Outstanding from their point of view has to be, Tim, that defence.
Yeah, I mean, all round, I think they're the most balanced squad in the division, I really do. Years ago, even last year, you would have said lose Gabriel or Saliba, you're going to struggle. Mascara's come in, Ben White can't even get stripped at the moment. For me, he's a very good player. Calafiori's excellent, and Timber is the best fullback in the league, in my opinion. Like, he's so powerful and strong. The goalkeeper, Raya, is probably amongst the top 3 goalkeepers in the world. So, yeah, they've got everything. I mean, they're good going forward. But you know what? If they don't score goals and play free-flowing football and open teams up time and time again, score loads of goals, they make sure they don't concede. So it always gives you a chance to win the football match.
I think, if I become a manager one day, I think, when you've got players like this who, they celebrate blocks. Yeah. They celebrate tackles. And I think when you take pride in defending, for a manager, it must be a dream, honestly, because at the top end of the pitch, players like myself, you score goals and you celebrate. It's the hardest thing to do in the game, but the best thing. At the same, you got 2 centre backs, Saliba, Gabriel, all these, Timber, all these players that they take so much pride in defending and keeping clean sheets. It's so important.
Yeah. Lewis Skelly as well. I mean, we missed him out. He's from the academy as well. Yeah. I mean, for an academy player to get in amongst that group, it's an incredible achievement.
Yeah, Lewis Skelly did feature in the Champions League, but Calafiori has been playing there, and you wonder why, and then you see what Calafiori brings to the side. Yeah. They bring goals as well to the defenders.
Set pieces, yeah.
People criticise them for scoring too many set pieces, or I don't understand it.
It's not illegal, you know that.
Yeah.
It's not illegal to score goals from set pieces, or from long throws, or from long balls forward.
It's come back in the game.
Do it by any means. Tottenham used... Sorry, Arsenal. What did I say, Tottenham?
You did.
Hey, done on purpose. Come on, Tim.
Arsenal used to get criticised because they couldn't have the fight. Sometimes when Wenger was there, they used to have very technical players, and they used to tiki-taka, and it used to be excellent, fantastic. But they used to score magnificent goals to win games. Now they can play poorly, and they can just have one long throw. Gorka, I'm liking him as well. I mean, he's a physical presence up there. It's not silky as a player, not by any means, but he occupies defenders. And he for me, is a nuisance. I would hate to play against him.
Yeah, you would.
He's a nuisance because I'm not sure at times he knows what he's doing. And I have his biggest compliment, but he gets a ricochet the wrong side of you. He's powerful. He's like a ball. He just pulls you around. And like I say, he occupies the defence for the number 10s who want to come in line, especially that boy, Eze. What a signing Eze was.
Jermaine, you talked about them celebrating blocks. I'm not sure if you saw, but the way they celebrated Gyökeres's goals in the Champions League in midweek, it was the same. Probably also relieved because he has been getting a lot of criticism. What do you make of him as a striker?
I like him because I think when you watch him play, he does all the things you expect your number 9 to do. He stands in between the 2 centre-halves. He's dynamic. He runs in behind, gives you an outlet. He's strong. I think the goals are going to come. I think the goals are going to... Listen, there's a lot of pressure. I can't remember the last time that a number's got to come and produce. And sometimes we've seen over the years, someone that's Didier Drogba, for example, when he became an iconic figure in the Premier League, but when he first came, he struggled. And there's been so many names that I can mention, top centre-forwards that have come to the Premier League and in their first year. Thierry Henry, when Thierry first come, from Juventus, he was a winger. Then he played as a number 9. Naturally, he would drift out to the left-hand side. But you speak to Thierry, he struggled for a bit. And all of a sudden, you get your rhythm, you get a few goals, you get confidence, and then you become a bit... It doesn't seem to affect him. It doesn't seem to affect... Even if it is, but he doesn't show it. He keeps going in that. And, he's got that football personality, so that's important.
Yeah, well, speaking of challenging this Arsenal defence this weekend, here's an example of a player flourishing under a certain manager, isn't it?
Yeah, well, they will know all about him. Saliba will certainly will. And like we talk about Gyökeres, physical, a beast of a man, you know, can hold the ball up, but he scores goals, this boy. I mean, he just backs into people, he can bring others into play. But look at him, Whitford, he knows where he needs to go to score that goal. And it looks like an easy chance, but he has to put himself in that position to be able to do it. But he scores different types of goals, Jay, doesn't he?
Yeah, just even that one there, you know, I remember Ian Wright said to me years ago when I was younger, he said, always be attracted to the goalkeeper. The ball goes wide, he's always in the right spot. He just seems confident at the minute, and I love that he tucks his shirt in. I think he's the only player that does it these days. Yeah. But there, I mean, he could have scored 4 in that game.
I was just going to say, that's probably, he scored a hat-trick, but he's probably disappointed with that.
Easiest chance in that, but I mean, he must be a nightmare to play against. You know, defenders would hate to play against him.
He takes the ball home there. He's missed a chance in like 94th minute there to win it. He probably, I don't know, I've never seen someone so disappointed to score a hat-trick. Perhaps when he took that ball home, he let it down, so it's flat. It's flat in his house now with the rest of it.
Thank you very much for that description, Tim. We really do appreciate it. Our former Palace forward, Clinton Morrison, spoke with Jean-Philippe Mateta about the mental challenges of playing for Crystal Palace.
My mind is like, I think I will not make it here. But, you know, this is when you go home.
Yes,
but when you come back to the training ground, it's like just working hard to show people I'm ready, you know.
Yeah,
but when you're in your car, sometimes you can think like that. But soon you come in a pitch, you just prove to everyone I can be the one.
How hard has it been to adapt to the Premier League? Because they say the Premier League is the best league in the world.
Yeah, it's the best league in the world, and it's tough, you know. When you come, it's like a different football, different understanding. You know, you come from France, Germany, now England. You play against very good player, and you train with good player too.
Yeah, kicking the corner flag, the now iconic celebration. Jean-Philippe Mateta, standout player. How do they deal with him? What makes him so dangerous?
Physical presence, goal scorer, smells instinctively where the chances are going to come from. I think they play, like I say, he occupies defenders as well. So you give him a hard time. You leave space for others. You know, Sarr has been a good player for him. You know, he's got the pace, you know, on the counter. I think they've got other options. I think they're going to find it difficult against Arsenal. But, like, they keep proving me wrong. Palace, I always think the wheels are coming off. They haven't had a good run of it recently. You know, it's been a couple of games. But even me saying, you know, a couple of games for Crystal Palace, that's normal in other years. Not this time. This Glasner side is a good side, well organised. I mean, they won a trophy last year. I mean, they do well to keep hold of the manager and an awful lot of their players. They're attracting interest from all over the Premier League, and that says everything. And no more so than that big man up front.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Crystal Palace, just in terms of their own standards right now, because of this team under Oliver Glasner, they are so impressive.
They're impressive. I think they're organised and hard to play against. They've got a way of playing and they stick to it. You know, that stadium was always rocking. You know, it's a hard place to go in that. But I think when you've got a team that's got a way of playing, and at the top end of the pitch you've got a goal scorer, you know, and you play for that person, you know, let's feed him and give him chances, because if we give him chances, he'll score goals. And Mateta, the confidence that he's playing with, and that's sort of like that presence and how dynamic he is, and not only that, you know, he always seems to be in the right place at the right time. And I don't think you can teach that. So, yeah, they're definitely a good team.
Interesting now with Oliver Glasner's contract situation. I think we're keeping a close eye on that because his stock has risen incredibly and he has not yet put pen to paper. Do you have a feeling he's waiting to see what happens with transfers?
Possibly. I mean, I think he's the main reason why Mark Gay never left in the summer. Now, whether they're going to be able to keep Mark Gay, I very much doubt, because he can leave in the summer on a free transfer, but you might as well take whatever the fee's going to be, 30, 40 million in January for him, depending on where Palace are in the league, obviously. Yeah, I mean, the likes of Wharton, Muniz, I think is a top draw player as well. He's developing talent, and a lot of interest coming from bigger clubs, but also his stock is very high at the moment. And I always say to managers, you need to strike while the iron's hot. And at the moment, I don't think his and Areola at Bournemouth stock can get any higher. And if the big giant clubs come for you, you have to go.
Can we start off with any team use after the Atletico game? Yeah, not much. Obviously, Big Gabi had to leave the pitch with an issue, and he hasn't been able to train yet. So let's see how he evolves in the next 24 hours, whether he's available or not for the weekend.
And any news on the longer-term injuries in Madueke, Odegaard, Havertz, Jesus? Any news on timescale?
They are all progressing really well. They are all started to do certain activities. They are all super willing to be available as quick as possible, but at the moment none of them are yet in contention in the next week or so.
Incredible stat, 3 goals conceded only in your first 12 games. It's the least in the history of the club. Is there a motivation to create more history, maybe even break Chelsea's record from back in the day?
Yeah, we want that this kind of records that we are getting a lot at the end brings the silverware and the trophies that we want. But obviously the more we can produce, I think the closer we're going to be to achieve what we want to do. And that defensive record is very good, but we need to be consistent. It's only just the start of the season, and the aim is to continue improving things, which we can do still, a lot of them to be even better.
Crystal Palace next. I guess it's a big game for Eberiche Eze in particular, his first game against his former club. What are his emotions like? What have you noticed?
It's a big game for us because last season here we dropped some points, and it's the 4th game in a row that we're going to play against opponents that we drop points, and this season we've been able to beat them. So we focus us on that. We know that for Ebbs it's going to be a very special match with the history and what he did for Palace, but the focus is on the team.
Just on those 4 games, because you preempted my next question, but does that form part of your messaging to the team? Look, we didn't win against these 4 teams last season. You've done it with the previous 3. Now the chance to do it with the 4. Well,
if we want a very different outcome, we better do very different things that we did last year, especially against these fixtures. So we know what Palace are doing, what Oliver is done for the football club, and the way they are getting results. So it's going to be a really tough match, but we're going to play again in front of our crowd, and we are confident if we hit our level, we have a big chance to win it.
Final one from me, Mikel. A lot of people are talking about the strength of your squad. Just from the manager's perspective, does that bring with it its own challenges? Because I'm guessing it can't be easy for you to leave out players who maybe deserve to be in the team. And how accepting, on the flip side, do the players have to be to know, look, you're not going to play as much as maybe you deserve or you want to?
Well, there are 2 sides to it. One, the emotional part and my attachment with the individual, with the person, and I would love to play all of them, but the second one, obviously, without a question of a doubt, I'd rather have this situation, the situation we had in the last few years when at some point we were very short in numbers. So we have created a very strong environment, a really competitive and supportive environment that hopefully can challenge to be very competitive every game. That's the aim, and that's what we want to achieve, and we just all go towards that direction.
Thank you. Anita from the Premier League.
Hi, Mikel.
Hi.
You've obviously got some players who are in great form, but looking at Crystal Palace, Jean-Philippe Mateta looks like a completely new player. 5 goals so far in the opening, 8 Premier League games. How do you stop him?
Well, first of all, is obviously what they do as a team at their level of organization. They have very clear intentions of how they want to attack and which moment they use to attack and to hurt opponents. So stopping the source is probably the best way. When you get into certain situation within in 1v1, you know that that is very prolific and it's been very, very successful, especially recently. So trying to avoid that.
From their attacker to one of your attackers, Victor, of course, getting a brace midweek against Atletico. What was your conversation with him like after that? Of course, a lot of rumblings around.
It didn't need a conversation. It just needed a hug and just look at him and enjoy how happy he was after the game. And I think we were all very happy because he fully deserves that.
My final one, 15 goals so far from the opening games. I know you're used to many questions being asked about the manner in which the goals are being scored, with 2/3 of them coming from set pieces. Are you at all concerned that it's only 5 from open play at this stage?
No, that's all. Because I don't see football like open play and set pieces. I see the game in a different way.
Okay, thank you. Best of luck.
Ian from Talksport.
Hi, Mikel. How are you?
Very good, thank you.
You going on from that then, the set pieces. I mean, a lot of people say that Arsenal score most of their goals from set pieces. They still can't stop you. And yet football seems to be going more to teams who want to be like you, scoring from set pieces. How have you done and perfected this?
With work. First of all, creating the culture, giving to that part of the game the importance that it has, understanding that again football is evolving and the opponents are behaving against us, that we have to maximize certain things that happen very frequently. So something that happens very frequently better has a lot of value to us. So trying to maximize that and be effective.
At what point did you say though, or did you hone in on the fact that this was going to be such a rich source of goals and so good for your team?
10 years ago.
Explain.
10 years ago, I said, I think it has to be, I wasn't here, but 10 years ago I said, it's a massive thing to do that, and I started to have a vision and try to implement a method and try to be surrounded by the best people to deliver that.
Just a couple more. Firstly on the defence, Arsene Wenger's success, everyone thought was built around that real famous back four and David Seaman at the back. Are you trying to replicate that without copying and pasting? Are you trying to replicate that Arsenal success with a tight back four?
I just go back to the history of football in general and the teams that have the best defensive record most of the times, except for the last 3 seasons in the Premier League, which we've been. Normally you win the league. So just go against those stats, but the stronger we are in that foundation, the bigger the probability to win games are.
Last one, it's easy when you're a manager, if things are going wrong, I know what I need to put right. How easy is it to manage when things are going perfectly as they are now? And there's temptation not to touch anything, or is there a temptation still to?
No, but they are far from perfect, and there are a lot of things that we must do better. Obviously, there are a lot of things that we're doing very, very well, and we need to maintain that. So it's just about understanding that the margins to win football games at this level are very small. In certain moments, we had certain luck. In certain moments, we have fully deserved to win them, but that's not going to be the same trajectory all the way in the season, and we need to be prepared for that. So the more alert we are, the more urgency we have, the more desire we have for the next game, we're going to be in a better place to win the game.
Thank you.
Tom, Football London.
Hi Mikel.
Hi.
We saw the Emirates on Tuesday, the light show and the integration of fans' phones. We also saw the messages at half-time and before the game started to encourage fans to get back into their seats as well as early as possible to create a supportive and intimidating atmosphere. How important is that element for you in potentially the title race and the impact it can have on games?
Key, capital. One of the most important things. And I love that because we don't expect supporters to turn up to the stadium. We want them just to play the game with us, which is very different. And in order to do that, you have to be in your seat. You have to be in your seat with a certain behavior, with a certain body language. And it's a good test. Sunday at 2 p.m., how are we going to turn up after a big Champions League? And if we're going to go to another step and do something that we didn't do last year, everybody has to turn into the stadium with that mindset. So that's what I want to see.
And can I ask you about what it's like playing against a former club, as Everett is going to do this weekend? You, of course, played against Everton when you moved to Arsenal. What challenges does that create for a player when they're playing teammates, former teammates and former friends, of course, so soon after they've moved?
There is something else in your tummy, obviously. There is history, there are a lot of emotion, there are very close relationships. You might think once you stepped in there and you go with that mindset, sometimes you have even more will to win. Because as well, obviously, you made that decision here to be successful and to achieve something else in your career. And I'm sure Epps is going to be ready for that.
Thank you. Simon, Evening Standard.
Mikel, can we just ask you about that when you said 10 years ago you saw the importance of set pieces? Was that because when you were, I think that would have been your last year as a player doing your badges, I assume. Is that because you saw where the game was going and you thought that was going to be a key part of the era of football that we're in now?
Yeah, and because I went to City with the best manager in the world, and I could see where we could have improvements, and it was clear because at some point I was doing that and I wasn't the best person in the world to do it. So if I'm not the best person in the world to do it and the best method to do it, there are ways to improve it. And you could see that straight afterwards what started to happen. But it's not only obsessed with that. I'm the same with the defensive part. In every transition, I want to be the best. When it comes to chaos, I want to be the best. When it comes to positional attack, the best. When it comes to low blocks, the best. And that's the eagerness to constantly find ways to develop your team, to evolve your team, and to give your players more tools to be more unpredictable and especially more efficient. That's it.
And just one on that, Declan obviously, since he come here, has turned into probably one of the best set-piece takers in the country. I mean, he's had comparisons to David Beckham. What would you say to that, and what do you think that says about his performance?
Then again, I heard some quotes that he made about that this season position is changed a little bit, and I disagree with that because his position has evolved and he is becoming a total player. A total player has to be able to do as many things as possible, and he has the capacity to do that. So that's to evolve a player, to start to bring something else to the team, and especially when you talk about scoring goals and threatening the opposition goal, even better. And he's been instrumental in our improvement in that part of the game.
Harry, BBC.
Hi Mikel, just sticking with the theme of the midfield, obviously Martin Zubimendi's come in. It looks from the outside like he's adapted amazingly to Premier League football. What would you say specifically he adds to your midfield that maybe you didn't have in previous seasons?
Well, every player is different. We had some terrific midfielders here. He brings certain hierarchy, certain composure that it's very difficult to understand, and then the way he proceeds information and learns from the game and what is actually happening in the game at that speed is remarkable. And I think again about him, it was about unlocking certain spaces and his capacity to look further and to hurt the opposition when his teammates are further from the ball and himself, and then yeah, if he can add goals to it, even better.
Is there more to come from him then?
Yeah, a lot more. And the more he understands his teammates, the timing of that, and those relationships built, I think we'll see another level still on him.
Okay, we'll do the last couple in the as live section. Firstly, James from ESPN.
You said you don't see the game in open play and set pieces. Is a key part of it then the bit in between, the work you do in open play to then create the openings?
And the other way around. I mean, the football is like this. Football doesn't stop, so it's all connected. If you want to see the game like this, okay, I don't.
Do you feel the trend in the Premier League generally is kind of moving more towards your way of thinking? Do you see teams copying?
I don't know, but it doesn't mean that it's more important. It's equally important. But what happens is what happens frequently in your games, and that's the things that you have to really dominate, and that's the opportunities to hurt your opposition. So we have to train and make sure that the things that are good for us happen very, very often, because it will be more difficult for the opponent. But I mean, I think everybody tries to do the same.
When you say, 10 years ago you sort of had this idea, can you just talk a bit about the patience and maybe the frustration you've had along the way? For 10 years to have that idea, and do you feel you're only now playing that kind of football? I mean, just talk a bit about that journey if you can.
No, it's not about that football. It's using those moments. And if you cannot generate other moments, make sure that you use these ones. But I think it's something that relates as well to the culture of the coach, the environment, and then the players that you have. And everything has to be aligned. I mean, if you want to have certain approach to the way you play the game, for example, we are super aggressive. You better sign and educate and train situation when the team can deliver that, because if not, if you want to be a team that do really with high press, you better be the best in the world at tracking back, because at some point the ball is going to break your press. So you have to have players that are able to deliver that. So it's all in relation to what you want to do. You have to acquire and have and evolve the players in that direction.
Is this phase 5?
Sorry?
Is this phase 5?
No, but this is not about the phases. The phases, it was something else.
I'll ask you about that.
Okay.
Phil from Pierre.
Hi, Mikel. I know you spoke a little bit about this earlier, but the Chelsea record of 15 goals conceded in that season. If Arsenal continue on the path that you've started this year, you'll be able to break that record. I mean, is it achievable? And if it is, what sort of message is that sending out to other teams about how tough Arsenal are to break down?
You mentioned the word "if" 3 times in that question, and in football, if is too many ifs. It's so unpredictable already. So on top of that, you put ifs, then becomes extremely difficult. Focus on the things that we are doing. We are doing consistently well, and if we can improve them, and let's see where we are at the end of the season.
Just sticking with the defence that have only conceded 1 goal from open play. I mean, is that better than you could have ever foreseen? And again, does that make Arsenal really intimidating to other teams?
well, obviously it's something that that is super positive. If it's the first time that happened in our history, imagine how difficult it is to do it. So yeah, we are very, very happy to be performing at that level in a really important part of the game, especially. And now it's about continue doing it.
7 of 15 goals this season have been scored by corners from Arsenal. We know what they're good at.
Well, yeah, but Kelly, I feel that when you're going to get games like that with Fulham, always cause problems for teams with that mid-block, especially at home. You have to find a way. You have to find a way to win, and I think that's what Arsenal are going to have to do until they can get into their stride and beat teams more, maybe entertainingly. But like for now, the main thing is to get the points on the board, so as then you could keep the pressure on. Like Liverpool got to play tomorrow. It
is a skill, though, isn't it? We kind of scoff at it, but they've become very good at it.
But that's the thing, and I don't understand why other teams don't pay it the respect it deserves, because it can get you out of jail, ultimately, because Arsenal can have games like this and where they're not really creating too many opportunities and you're thinking, where's the goal going to come from? But because they're so strong at it and they work it, even the opposition now are thinking to themselves, every time they get a corner, oh no, here we go again.
There's a lot of skill involved, you know, like we just saw it there with Saka's ball has to be perfect, just like when Declan Rice is taking the ball has to be perfect, because people have got certain places where they've got to get there at the right time, so as then you can get the flick, and it's not easy. No. It's not easy. People can scoff at it and that, but it's not an easy thing to do. There's a lot of skill involved.
Yeah, nearly 50% of Arsenal's goals